Joe, why don't you take a first pass?
Well, no surprise here. Get to know your CISO will definitely be my takeaway from this, and I bet you're shocked by that.
Yeah.
So let's engage in that discussion, and I think we've given you a few tips on how to have that discussion. Focus on your data, understand your requirements of where you're at, maybe talk about the R&D credit. The other topic you might talk about is what happens in a breach. So what happens if in your part of the organization you see something that looks odd? Do you know who to call? Do you know how to respond? Really engaging the CISO in that discussion, I think, is an important topic. And then likewise, if there's a breach somewhere else in the organization, how will you be notified? How will you be involved? And what are the potential tax implications that you think about? And
I think that's a good idea. Again, when you're not in the moment and you're not right up against the filing deadline, having that what would I do discussion, and to, again, steal some vocabulary of if you see something, say something, early and often, I'm sure, is better than waiting till you stumble across it later, because a little bit of ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure here. So Teresa, as far as risk, benefits, cost, rewards, how do we go about seeking a balanced approach when I already have 9,000 things on my to-do list?
Exactly. I think it's really important. We've talked a lot, and there's been a little bit of scare factor here, but it is something, it is not negotiable. It is part of the way we do business in the 21st century, that we do need to be able to control who has access to data. We need to recognize that there are parties who would take that information and do something, whether malicious or inadvertent. But we also can't grind to a stop. So we can't make it so that the easiest thing would be no one has access to anything, but then you can't do your job. So making sure that you have that balanced approach of you've got the governance procedures, you've worked through practical approaches that the rest of the organization's using, you've developed practical approaches for areas that might be tax specific, and then making sure that they're tough procedures, but they can allow you to do your day-to-day job. And that balance, I think, is hard to find. And probably people err a little bit. We always swing in pendulums in tax. We'll swing a little bit more toward over-cautiousness, which is a good thing in this environment, and then settle into a routine that just incorporates it day-to-day, but it can't lock us down.
God, that makes sense. And Laura, prioritizing.
Definitely. I think one of the ways to seek that balanced approach to achieve that is to prioritize based on risk. Take a look at your landscape. Don't take on this challenge all at once. Break it up into bite-sized chunks and identify where the areas are the riskiest. Focus on those first. That's where leadership needs to be particularly concerned and will require a lot of attention. But there are other areas where we can power our teams to take some responsibility. They also have custody of the data, and so this needs to be a whole team effort.